Welcome to the podcast Lead the Future, the Alt Summer Series. Each podcast, I will ask three panelists an authentic leadership transformation question, in short, ALT. This ALT question was part of the ALT Summit's third panel discussion titled The Creative Age is Now. I'm Arjan Visser, a human-centered futurist and your host. Today we gather around the theme The Creative Age is Now. For most of the past 50 years, leadership was shaped by the management age, built on efficiency, processes, and control. But the signs of change have been growing for more than a decade. Identity, purpose, well-being, relationships, and transformation has moved to the center of our conversations. The creative age has begun. It's a human-centered, identity-driven, and transformation-oriented age. It calls us not only to lead differently, but to be different, to shape the foundations of a society where expression, connection, and flourishing are the norm. In this session, we explore together why embracing and expressing our future identity is pivotal for readers right now. As we step into the creative age, leadership is less about managing processes and more about embodying identity. The future of leadership begins with who we are becoming, not just what we achieve. The question is, how do leaders embrace and express that future identity, and why is it so urgent right now? Let me briefly introduce my three panelists before we go to the conversation. Chris Harding, a true game changer with the relentless curiosity to see beneath the surface and reimagine what's possible. Chris unlocks human potential, he challenges conventional thinking and invites a bold vision of the future where everyone can thrive and be fully seen for their unique good. Sascha Visser, a visionary educational architect who equips leaders to design human-centered learning environments, where the next generation can discover who they are, grow in self-leadership, and prepare to flourish in the creative age, a human-centered society. David Koerts, a courageous builder of futures who partners with forward-thinking pioneers to move beyond outdated paradigms. David activates inner alignment and helps leaders shape ecosystems where purpose, innovation, and lasting change can truly root. Enjoy the conversation. Why is embracing and expressing your future identity pivotal for leaders right now at the beginning of the creative age?
It's a very big question, Ian.
It
And I
is.
guess part of the reason is because most of us were formatted. Do you remember those old computer disks that you used to have to format them before you could use them? Most of us were formatted for the present age, right? Go to school. I fundamentally believe we're all born creative, right? And then we go to school at the age of 5 and they say, you can stop asking questions now. You just need to learn these answers to these questions, and then you can go to the next level. And then if you get that well enough, you can go to the next level, and then the next level, and then the next level. But what if we're made for more than just more of the same with better tech? You know, what if our creative start is more true to who we really are? And so when I think about your question, you know, why is embracing and expressing your future identity pivotal? I mean, the first question that comes to mind is, what do I mean by future? Is future just a timeline? Or is future an unfolding potentiality, right? Like what's possible now versus what is becoming possible, which is very different to just a timeline of learn these answers to these questions, go to the next level. You know, we'll stick you in year groups, and by the time you're 18, then if you've done enough work, you can go to university, and then you can get a job, then you can get, you know, the do to get to be linear paradigm, I think, is over. And the second part of that question for me then is identity and the reality of what's possible is uncharted territory. You know, And what it comes down to for me is that the old age, the age that I've grown up in, is very much ego driven, about control, predictability, and you can see this playing out in the desperation of certain sectors in society desperately trying to keep control of everything. But it's kind of unraveling, because I am not a unit of productivity. I'm a human being, and I was made for more than just more of the same with better tech. And I, I see a growing number of people like me who are refusing to subscribe to that framework. And if we're going to make it all that it can be, then it's going to need people who are brave enough to lead the way. And if it's about a different age for a different kind of humanity, then by definition you have to know who you are becoming.
Yeah.
If you're going to lean into that, because it's no longer just about do this to get that so that I can be, where my being is kind of like, the sum of all the things I've done. If you flip that into who am I being and becoming, and what do I have to work with, and what would I do with that for the good of all, that's a game changer. And yeah, and I've found that is possibly the hardest work, rewiring my formatting.
Yeah.
To understand who I really am at my core, because who I am at my core is this is not egotistical, but we are all a gift to each other, right? We're all wired differently, and we're all a gift to each other, and it's important to figure that out. If you can't express your future identity and allow it to call you into it, then I'm not quite sure where we're going. I don't know if that answers the question, but I think for me, there's no textbook for this, right? There is no definitive answer. It's not like the old game of do this to get that, and then we know what the outcome's going to be. My hope is that the outcome is going to be much more fantastic than I can even imagine.
Yeah. Well, and that's the curiosity, isn't it? That's the drive to go for the unknown, the unpredictable.
Yeah.
Because we long, and deep inside maybe we have a hard image that overrides how we are formatted.
Yeah, and look, and Arjan, it's interesting. I don't think this is totally new, because I think there's been a dissatisfaction that's been growing for quite a few generations now, where there's plenty of papers that say that more than 70% of people reach their 70s and wish they had lived differently.
Yeah, that's a huge number.
Yeah.
Sascha, what would be your...
Yeah, sorry, I already interrupted.
No, just
question. Probably something to do with creativity, because when you're in a job and you work your work life, I think internally you switch a part off, and then there is time time to be creative again, and people feel back alive. Is that true? Yeah, I think so.
So can you go deeper into what would be unanswered? What would be your answer? Why is it pivotal for leaders to right now, no longer wait, to just embrace and express their future identity?
Yeah, I come from the education system, and leaders in the educational system needs to be aware about this change, what is coming. But the system still goes back like the Industrial Revolution. There hasn't much changed the last years, and yeah, the small kids come in and they're free, and something I like when I'm in a classroom and a 4-year-old isn't interested in what I am doing, they stand up and they walk away, and I think perfect. It's not in their interest, they're not motivated. But that's with us as well. So if you want to change the system, for the new age, it has to start with the leaders. It has to start with, the leaders are in the position to make that change. So they need to understand something needs to be different, and we have to, yeah, take care of those individuals, because that's the loving heart, I think, for children, and to prepare them for the future. I think that's what's important to me, and I want to see those individuals grow to their full potential. And it starts at a young age, because if the next generations don't live it, society won't change. It has to do with a human-centered society, I think, from the inside out.
Yeah.
Know who you are, like you said, Chris. Yeah. And if, even for children, that's hard. Who am I? I still free for
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You hear that a lot, that because adults don't know it yet, they diminish the little children and say, well, they're too young to figure out who they are. But at the same time, we all know the leading narratives out there that are formatting a disc. So even they need to have an example how to find out themselves right now.
Yeah, and I think when children are smiling when they come to school, they're happy, and the learning will get there. And
David, welcome back.
Yes, thank you. I had some technical issues. Before I say anything, I just really want to say happy birthday, Arjan. You had yesterday your birthday.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
So,
yeah, that
yeah, the creative age, it's very interesting. You know, there's less focus on productivity, but really on creativity. And the thing is here, I really believe everybody is a leader. So it's not about the people that um, just in the position because they have some leadership position, because maybe that is actually a little bit of the industrial age, where we have focused so much on management instead of helping the ecosystems to really to thrive. And so this is what I think, you know, just that what Chris is also saying and what you are saying, Aaron and Sascha, is to discover who we are. And this is called the Authentic Leadership Transformation Summit. And it's really about becoming authentic yourself. And that is, like Chris says, that's probably the hardest thing for us to do, you know, just because we're so uh, pampered in the idea that, you know, others will come up with solutions for us. And then for many years in our lives, we actually try to adjust ourselves to external solutions, where we have to figure out actually there are no external solutions, there are only internal solutions. And that's why it's so hard to really for the future to get to give to let the future flourish. It's for us to right now actually to allow that future already do the inner work in us, and for us to grow as people, that we just start to think about, you know, just what is it that I have to take responsibility for, so I will not lean too much on the external factors. And then uh, because I think it takes courage actually to not blame the external factors, and it takes courage to go to the inner side, to the inner man, the inner woman, you know, just really start to think about what can I change here myself, so I will express my full identity. And so I think ecosystems that are made for just to for the leader to flourish are wrong ecosystems. So the ecosystem is actually for the members to flourish. And so we have to figure out ways that we can actually together the individual flourish as much as possible.
Thank you for staying with us till the end. I believe it gave you something to think about. In a minute, I will share my personal takeaways. But before revealing these hidden gemstones, I like to address the dialogue doesn't end here. It's your invitation to continue the journey. I invite you to engage with your own thoughts and insights below, or step directly into the Alt Forum with us. This is an exclusive peer dialogue for visionary leaders to step into the future. It's a thought-provoking space for forerunners, forward-thinking leaders, and pioneers who are ready to catalyze their authentic leadership transformation. You can experience this powerful forum first and decide later. Just use the link in the description to join. alt.businessrevivalist.com/forum. I'm looking forward to see you there. I'd like to share a few notes that I made during this conversation with Chris, Sascha, and David. Chris said that you have to invite leaders to see the future possibilities, not the chronology. He also mentioned that we have to raise the stakes. Expression of becoming is a non-negotiable for collective direction. Sascha highlighted that children model authentic choice and agency, and it's a call to leaders to initiate systemic renewal. David Koerts finished with mentioning that leadership begins with inner transformation, not external fixes. And lastly, he mentioned that redefine leadership as designing environments for shared thriving. To finish, I'd like to thank my guests Chris, Sascha, and David for this great conversation with all their deep and honest answers. I want to thank you for staying with us till the end, and I'm really looking forward to see you in the Alt Forum. Just use the link in the description, alt.businessrevivalist.com/forum, to experience it first and decide later.